Okay, hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This setup is so strange because basically my camera is dead, but I need to film a video because I keep losing track of the days, so I'm not uploading like when I should, and literally my holidays just flew by. Like, I'm already in August. I don't even know what the day is today. Let me just check. Thursday, so my video is going up tomorrow, so it's a Friday as you're watching this, which is rather strange because it should have been a Wednesday. But anyway, I'm just gonna go get straight onto the video, and before anyone starts screaming clickbait because of what I've put in the title or the thumbnail, can I just say it's not like I wouldn't clickbait. The main reason why I have decided to do this video is because I wanted to use it to not like spread awareness, but kind of educate people, because I was so close to not going to the doctors and to not getting it checked out that if I hadn't have gone, it might have led to a very different scenario. So let me take you back to a couple of Sundays ago, Sunday the 22nd of July. I was coming back from Cornwall and we stopped off at a National Trust place because we decided, well, when we left where we were staying in the morning, it wasn't really beach weather, so we went and found a National Trust place to like spend the like mid-morning, early afternoon at before we travelled back. And we had like lunch, we had like a little picnic, it was really nice, and then we went through like the reception bit and we were just walking to get to like the main house, and I felt something on my leg. So I was just wearing shorts and a t-shirt, so I didn't look down, like I just thought it was like going to be an insect or something, so I just like brushed down my legs. And then we got to like these little stone step things, and my mum was like, oh, stand on there and I'll take a picture of you three. So we stood on the steps, and before my mum took the photo I looked down and there was like a tiny bit of blood on my leg, and I just thought, well, I've obviously done it with my nails, which are, by the way, in awful condition. They need repainting. But yeah, I just thought, oh, I've just caught it with my nail because I ripped one of my nails that morning, so I just thought, oh, like I've cut myself. So that was all good, and like I didn't really think anything else of it. And then we started walking around the house, and I kind of was then like just really paranoid that there was something on my leg all the time. Brushed down again and I thought, oh, that's odd, my leg's hot. So I looked down and there was a ring probably about this big. It's really hard to see because like I'll do it here because I'm like against a darker surface. And it was red, it had like raised from my leg slightly, and it was like boiling hot. So I'm going around this National Trust place going, I'm going to sue the National Trust, whatever's bit me, la da da da. You know, still not really thinking anything of it. Yeah, it was hot and it was like raised off my leg, but I just thought, oh, something's obviously bit me, it's something that I haven't been bitten by before. We keep walking around. This red thing is getting bigger and bigger and hotter, and I was like, this is not normal, what is going on? And my mum was like, you're probably just having an allergic reaction to it. She was like, me and my nana go like that, don't think anything of it. So I was like, well, normally when I get bitten by insects it doesn't go like this. And so I was like, okay, well, perhaps it is just like my body's natural reaction. But yeah, this thing was getting redder and redder and hotter, and then we leave this National Trust place and we come home. I'm in bed on Sunday night, do the thing you're probably not supposed to do, and I start googling like, why is my leg hot and all of this. I found this really good website called Mozziegard, I think it was. I'll see if I can find it and link it down below. And it was basically like, I think it was the top 8 or 7 most common insect bites on what they look like. So I was like looking at mine, it was like a rash with like quite a big rash, like with a jagged leg, and loads of people now are telling me it was a horsefly, but when I look at this Mozziegard, my leg looked more like something like a stable fly. which it could have been because they live by the sea and like water, and this is where this National Trust place was. So it could have been either, because horseflies draw blood, but it looked more like a stable fly bite. But either way, I was bitten by one of them two insects or flies. And then I started like reading more and like how it could get infected, and it was really bad. And I started scaring myself. So obviously, don't Google your symptoms because, you know, probably won't get the best outcome. And I was like, hey, just relax, just go to bed. But before I went to bed, it was like hot, like really, really hot. And I wrote a letter, I think I've deleted it, to my family. Like, I was convinced this thing on my leg was going to kill me overnight. I was like, this was the state I'd got myself in. So anyway, went to bed on the Sunday night. Obviously nothing happened because I lived to tell the tale, but like by googling my symptoms, I was convinced that something was going to happen to me overnight. Bearing in mind, this thing on my leg was getting bigger and bigger and hotter and hotter. Wake up on this Monday morning. First thing I did was felt my leg because it was visibly a lot bigger. I've got some pictures that I will like keep inserting on my phone. And I went to the, what am I saying? Woke up, felt it, and no word of a lie, I could have boiled an egg on it. That's how hot it was. So I went and got an ice pack out the freezer. I'm just looking for the photos on my phone to kind of like remind myself of ice pack out the freezer, but because of how big it was, like our ice packs weren't cutting it. So I rang my nana, and she has like everything. And she had like this huge industrial sized ice pack. I think it's still in my freezer actually. It's probably about this big, but in the photos it looks smaller because I've like folded it at least 3 times. But it was a big ice pack, and I sat with that over my leg for the majority of the day actually. I took an antihistamine, I was taking Piriton, which I later found out you shouldn't take at the same time because they're both antihistamines, but never mind. Like, I wasn't overdoing it. I took one antihistamine and then some Piriton every like 4 hours or something. Sitting with this ice pack on it, I'd found some antibiotic gel, like cream. I was putting that on it, and it just wasn't going down. It wasn't making it any less hot. It wasn't like, it was itchy, it was irritable. So when my dad got back from work, he took me to the walk-in centre near where I live, and the walk-in centre closes at 9. It was about 8:15 when we got there, and the receptionist was like, I'm really sorry, but we're not admitting any more patients. We looked around the waiting room, there was about 6 people in there, maybe 5-6 people, and my dad was like, well, this is ridiculous, like, why not? Like, it's before 9 o'clock. And the lady on reception was like, oh, because we've had a man come in, he'll probably need stitches. We've only got 1 person on. There's still like another 5 people to see. And my dad's like, well, that's ridiculous because we're here at 8:15. It's before 9. Anyone who walks in, like, it's a walk-in centre. And she's like, yeah, I know, but we can't take any more patients. So we were like, oh, okay, we'll have to drive to like another one, which is like a good, I don't know, half an hour away maybe. And anyway, just before, and I was there like grumbling like, oh my god, this, like, I'm gonna like die, like, you're not gonna, like, anyway. So we were just about to go to another walk-in centre, and she went, or you can wait, but it'll probably be about 10 o'clock. And my dad was like, oh, we'll wait then, because obviously that saves travelling to another walk-in centre. So she's like, okay, can you fill in this form? And then she saw, like, she stood up to give me this form, and she saw my leg, and she's like, no, that's not normal. And I was like, thank you, like, you've just been trying to turn me away, and now you've seen my leg and you're like, that's not normal. And I'm like, okay, so can we, anyway. So obviously it's not the receptionist's fault, she was just doing her job. And I'm like stood there grumbling to myself, and I was like, oh, that's NHS cuts for you. And like the receptionist looked at me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, that's not a dig at you, I'm just saying, like, like, for a town of this size, you've got this walk-in centre and there's only one member of staff on. And she's like, yeah, it's like this. Anyway, it was really nice, and I was not having a dig at her. I was just simply stating that because of like all the budget cuts and everything, this is what is happening. They're having to like turn people away because they've only got one member of staff on. But that's like a rant for another time. So we sat in the waiting room. We get called in, and it was a sister on duty, and like she was having a look and she was feeling it, and she's like, are you feeling okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, are you on any... So basically, she put me on a course of antibiotics because it had developed into cellulitis. I think that's how you say it. It had developed into that, and like spread like on like spread basically around my leg. Like my leg was quite red, like the upper thigh. Can I just say, all the pictures I'm inserting, I'm not like, I have got shorts on in all these pictures, but I had to wear like quite short shorts because of how far the redness had come and how irritable it was. And she's like, you've got cellulitis, I will like give you some antibiotics to treat it because it could turn into sepsis. At that point, my heart was in my mouth. I was like I was starting to panic because I don't watch Coronation Street, but Coronation Street have just done like a storyline on sepsis, and it is really serious, and like it really did scare me. Like my heart was in my mouth, and I was like, she's like, even if I put you on these antibiotics, it could still develop into sepsis. She's like, we are seeing a lot of insect bites this summer that have like developed into cellulitis, but also have sepsis-like symptoms. And I was like, wow, this is a lot to take in. Like my heart was in my mouth, and like this is where the title or the thumbnail of this video has come from, because I could have died if the infection had have turned into sepsis. It could have been a whole different story. If I hadn't have gone to the doctors, it could have been a whole different story. And obviously I'm already on a course of antibiotics for my face, and I was like, well, I'll stop taking them antibiotics for like these 7 days just while I take these. And she's like, no, you can take both at the same time. It doesn't, like, they don't clash with each other. And then she was telling me about all these warning signs of sepsis. She's like, even though I've diagnosed you with cellulitis, with like this infection that this bite has caused, it could still develop into sepsis. So she drew like a border around my leg in black pen, and she's like, if it gets any bigger, you need to come back. And she's like, if you see a thin like red line coming away from the bite towards your body, you need to get an emergency appointment, you need to get emergency care, because that is sepsis. And like all this time, like I was just going round and round in my head, like, I'm 16, I don't want sepsis, like I'm too young to die. Like this is what was going through my head, like not exaggerating. It was really scary to be sat there and to be told that something that just as simple as an insect bite could develop into sepsis. And this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this story time, because like to spread awareness that something so simple like that, I'm not trying to scare anyone, I'm just saying, like, if it's not normal, if it doesn't look right, go and get it checked out by your GP, or go to your walk-in centre, because something just like that could turn into something without knowing. So yeah, it could have been a whole different story for me. So she drew this black board around my leg, and she's like, you need to go to the pharmacy now and pick up your tablet, and I want you to take an antibiotic as soon as you get them. And I was like, wow, this is serious. Like this course of antibiotics can't wait till tomorrow. I have to start them now. Like this was serious. And so I was like, right, okay, thank you. So we went and picked up my antibiotics, and I took them, and it had like, this video that I'm about to put in doesn't look as bad as what it was. This was when I got back on the Monday night, and you can see the redness and you can see the border. And then I woke up the next morning, so this would be the Tuesday morning, and it had like separated slightly. It looked bruised, but the redness had come out a bit from the black border, and I was like, well, that's fine, like it hasn't come out loads. But throughout the Tuesday it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, particularly like around the back of my thigh. It had spread to nearly like all the way back around my thigh. So when my dad got back from work on the Tuesday, he rang the NHS helpline, and he was like, what do we do? We went to the walk-in centre last night, and the sister on duty said if it got outside then we need to ring and we need to ask for advice. She's still feeling fine within herself. She hasn't got a temperature or anything. And the lady on the other end of the phone was like, okay, you need to go back. At which point I was like, wow, this is serious. Like, I wasn't thinking too much of it when I woke up on the Tuesday morning, and it just spread around. It got redder throughout the day. It was still hot. It wasn't as hot as the Monday, but it was still hot. So I was like, wow. So we went back. It was the same sister on duty, and she's like, you did the right thing by coming back in. She's like, right now I'm not concerned about it. She's like, I think it is just your antibodies in your body reacting to the antibiotics and trying to contain it, but because they're still trying to work in union, they've like spread it without meaning to. She's like, but keep taking the antibiotics. And she's like, the bruising that you're seeing is where the skin was so tight that now the antibiotics have started working. It's loosened the skin, and that's what's given it the bruising effect. And then by like the Wednesday, the Thursday, the redness had shrunk right back down, and I was just left with like how it started off basically, and it was just looked like bruised, but you could really start to see the main bite site. I can still see it now, and I took my last antibiotic on Monday. It's now so 4 days later, like you can still see the 4 days after stopping taking the antibiotics, you can still see the main bite site. By the way, just excuse this mess, I've only just seen it. It's the problem when you've got mirrored wardrobes. But yeah, the redness did start to go down, and I was just left with what it was originally, and then this like lump where the bite obviously happened. It was still quite itchy, but I didn't really think anything of it. I was taking my antibiotics. So now all it's left me with is a slight, like, my skin does look slightly different. Like, it still does look slightly bruised, but not like a going down bruise. And there is like a little, not lump, but there's like a bump in my skin where obviously whatever bit me, whether it be a horsefly or a stable fly, did bite me, and that is literally what is left. But yeah, I wanted to film this story time because I've been wanting to do a story time on my channel for a long time, but I wanted it to be something that was worth doing a story time about, and I thought if I do it about this, then I'm kind of educating people at the same time. And obviously if I hadn't have gone to the doctors, and if I hadn't have gone to get it checked out, it could have been a whole different story. So yeah, I was really grateful that it didn't develop into anything serious, and that is basically why I wanted to do this story time, just to kind of spread awareness that if you have been bitten, it is probably nothing, but if it doesn't look right, then go and check it out. Because one of the things that scared me on the Sunday night when I started googling my symptoms was, which I strongly advised against, the NHS website said insect bites, nothing to worry about. Come in, like, if it's hot, if it's like red, like if it's persistent, and if it's larger, if it's got a diameter bigger than 10 centimeters. Well, let me tell you, I don't exactly have thick, thin thighs, like think of more chicken thighs, and that's like my thighs, so just by looking at it I could see it was bigger than 10 centimeters in diameter because it was taking over my thigh. But yeah, literally all I'm left with now is like a little red bump, but that's it. And yeah, that is my story time of how my insect bite could in like capitals, because it didn't, because it got stopped by antibiotics, but could have killed me. So yeah, that pretty much concludes my story time, and I will see you all on Sunday with a brand new video. Bye!